Are we ready? All right. I forgot what I was going to say. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of Impractical Blacksmithing. We are your hosts, Yamez with Adelaide Metal Forge, Alex with Transcendental Artist Studios, and Adam at Speargrass Forge. Today we're going to be talking about chisels, the tool of the week, so to speak. I'd like to welcome you guys, and you've all been a part of this for the last 4 weeks without really knowing about it. At least most of you didn't. But we're also recording this and uploading it as a podcast to Spotify and Anchor. I will be getting this on other platforms in the near future, but I do have to submit it and get it approved. I can't just upload it straight away like I can to Spotify and Anchor. So if you're one of those people that doesn't have much data and the live stream kind of eats that up, you're more than welcome to download the podcast on Spotify or Anchor and give it a listen there. It only takes up about 120 megabytes, so it doesn't take much data at all if you're mobile. And hey, all you guys that are out there listening, do us a favor and follow our podcast and download the episodes. I got distracted when he's beating on my door over here. They're ready for me. I am busy today. Busy. I might as well be a one-armed woman in a below-board massage parlor right now. Got way too much going on, so I'm going to step out and let Adam and Yamez take over the show for the day. And I hope y'all have a great day and discuss lots of neat stuff. And I'll hear all about it when I go to edit it later in the week. So y'all have a fine one. I'm gonna listen in, but I gotta bounce. So.
Run away there, Sally. What days do we upload on those podcast providers?
I'm shooting for Wednesdays.
Fantastic, thank you.
All right. Sorry about the early audio issues. I'd gotten a set of earbuds, and I was using those all morning. And then, right as I was getting ready to go live, I noticed we did not have any desktop audio on my feed. So I had to scramble and go back to the old school, and then I had to set up a new mic and all that sorts of stuff. And anyway, let's say hello to everybody. Paul Orchard, how you doing? Trail Dust, Mick Chu, Mr. Parsons, Bortagov, Eric, Xavier, Hubcap, how you do? Hope you're feeling better, Hubcap. Dylan Corwin, Deranged Metalworks, good morning, good evening. Paul Fontanini, how you do? And Robert Whitney's in the house. Hey, Ron Dennis, Mountain Home Forge, and hello to everybody popping in and everything. Don't forget to smoosh that like button and like that smoosh button. I hope my audio levels are coming in correct. It was like a literal last minute, like, no, fix it. So I'll get all that figured out again. Anytime you get a new piece of equipment, it's always Hertic Blacksmithing. How you doing? All the way from Ghana. But yeah, so I know Sulbert's busy, so I know his week is busy. If I were to ask him, how's your week? It'd be busy. So we'll go straight over to Adam over at Speargrass. How's your week?
My week has been busy. So I was here. I'm pretty sure I was here last week. I can't remember. Was I here last week?
Yes, you were here last week.
I was. Yes, that's right. I was. So of course, the week before I had the Friends Pass show. Then I was at work, and then the day last weekend it was actually my dad's birthday, which is why I was why I had taken the day off work. This week I'd actually gone back to my regular job because I was doing overtime, and I usually don't do overtime because of reasons, but my work offered me double time, which is they've never done in the 6 years I worked for them. So it was kind of like, yes, and they said you can do as much overtime as you want. So I went yes. So I did 33 hours of overtime this week, which was, basically I did 66 hours, which is a nice little input of funds, which means particularly considering that I've got, as a theoretically unlimited overtime coming up. I'll be able to A, put money aside for my US trip, B, put money aside to do all the land clearing and stuff that I need to do in order to build my workshop, buy a belt grinder, buy a tractor, all the wonderful things that I've wanted and needed to do. I'll finally have the influx of cash to be able to put towards them, as well as pay for my upcoming nuptials. Now, this, I don't know if I shared this with the chat last week, but I'm actually getting married. I'm getting married in 2 months, in August.
Nice.
So so finally making Mrs. Spear, my partner, into Mrs. Speargrass. So that'll be official. But yeah, so basically just being busy, and haven't running in circles at the moment in order to just like drag racing, spin the wheels to burn the rubber in order to, get that traction to take off down the track later on. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Not really getting anywhere, but I'm getting somewhere. And thank you for everyone in the chat for saying congratulations. I don't know if it's a congratulations or commiserations, but
yeah, congratulations. I've talked with you before about all of that, and I've actually, proud for you. I think you got a good team over there.
Likes me going out the workshop, leaves her alone.
Hey, Wayne.
She's a good egg.
Yep. But yeah, good on you for that. It's I, as most people know, I'm probably the last person to congratulate or to you go it and for marriage and whatnot, but it's like my experiences are not, blah, 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 blah. Anyway,
Put it this way, she put up with me for near on 6 years anyway, and she was the one that basically would encourage me to go over and meet all you guys for 5 to 6 weeks without her. So she was going, go to the US, have fun, go see all your mates. I'm not interested, and it's like, she wants me to go to the US for 6 weeks. It's like, yeah.
I read that as, you annoy the hell out of me, get out of my hair for 6 weeks. Maybe I can get some work done.
That's right. You can't complain when she's honest like that, though,
Sure.
No. So that's what's been going on in my end. How about you there, Yamas? How have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, it's a weird mix of busy with work and, random, hurry up and waits. This week's hours were looking pretty dang good, and then got to the job yesterday. What day is it? It's Friday, and it was supposed to be an all-day job, hanging the dining room chandelier real quick, and then spending the entire day setting up outdoor lighting. And we get there, and they changed their mind. Oh, we don't, we're gonna not do the outdoor lighting. And it's like, so we drove an hour and a half for this and hung a light, and then it was like, oh, screw it, 4-day weekend, because we're not working Monday. Yesterday I did nothing. Right.
You guys have a public holiday this weekend, don't you?
It is Memorial Day tomorrow. So I did nothing yesterday, not that I could have gone out and done it. It's like half a tank of diesel, and cost me about $150 to fill it up to go out and do anything. But yeah, I believe today we're cooking up some pork and smoking a pork butt, so that'll be fun. What's up, Matthew? But yeah, it's funny that the topic of the week today is chisels, because I actually need to make some chisels, and it's probably what I'm going to be doing during my show tonight. So yeah, I was working on that snake, and that's what I was working the mouth, and really the only chisel I have, the only chisel I have is very it's wide. It's like a cold chisel, so I need something thinner and broader, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make myself a couple of different chisels in my style. I know that, and we'll get to them. You know, a lot of people do like square faced. I like a half moon chisel. Allows me some flexibility.
Are you doing a hot cut chisel there, or a cold cut, or like what?
Hot,
I guess
hot cut.
I guess that's a better thing to ask for when we actually do the topic on the chisels, eh?
Yeah, hot. I'm gonna do hot chisels. You know, stuff to
All right.
cut and shape. You know, it's like I noticed when I was working the mouth of the snake. You know, it's like I could only get down so far because the geometry of the chisel edge was very wide, and I need something thin to get in there and push the metal without, or you know, like cut the metal without spreading it so wide and wasting energy pushing against the side. I want it to cut, you know. So I might make some pretty chisels. I don't know. But yeah, so aside from that, I mean, generally the week's been good. You know, it's I've gotten a lot done for work, and you know, I've gotten a bit done around the house. I think I just got to hit the weed eating, you know, today. Now that it's not raining, so yeah. All right, adios, aimless. But yeah, so yeah, with that, kind of great segue right into our topic. You know, like my idea was to make chisels, and we're talking chisels. So, which came first? I actually have a little slideshow prepared, a visual aid, if you will, for the for when Adam here is ready for his
When you are there, Yamas.
spiel. Huh?
I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready when you are.
Alrighty, so the topic of the week this week is chisels. Now, this week's topic actually comes as a suggestion on Discord from Stressmaster. So chisels are a cutting tool with a sharpened edge at the end of a metal blade, used often by driving with a mallet or hammer in dressing, shaping, or working a solid material such as wood, stone, or metal. Chisels can typically be identified by their characteristic flat and wide angular-shaped cutting edges or blades, and they are equipped with either a wooden or metal handles, although some sets of chisels, such as those used on stone, metal, or concrete, have no handles and are fabricated entirely of metal, usually iron or steel. Flint ancestors of the present-day chisels existed as far back as 8000 BC. The Egyptians used copper and later bronze chisels to work both wood and stone. Chisels today are made of steel in various sizes and degrees of hardness depending on use. Chisels, whether metal or wood type, are perceived to be very simple and easy to use as opposed to power tools. However, the truth is that it does require a considerable time, even years, for the user to acquire enough experience and skills to use them correctly and effectively. An engraver is one glaring example. This is because of the precision of the cut, gouge, or carve will depend largely on correct pressure or force exerted on the chisel and the base material, as well as the precise angular positioning of the blade to the surface of the materials or objects. Chisel comes from the Middle English chisel or chisel, borrowed from Old Northern French, chisel, from the Vulgar Latin chiselum, or and which of course evolved from ancient Latin, chasus, and the past participle of shadere, which means to cut. And don't at me. Ancient Latin is different to modern Latin, similarly to Old English versus modern English. Pronunciation is different, and I have tried my best. It took me about an hour just to research those pronunciations of those words.
Yeah.
So, woodworking chisels. Chisels range from small hand tools for tiny details to large chisels used to remove big sections of wood. In roughing out the shape of a pattern or design, and typically in wood carving, one starts with the largest tool and gradually progresses to smaller tools to finish the detail. One of the largest types of chisel is the slick, used in timber frame construction and wooden shipbuilding. Many of these types of woodworking chisels are used for specific purposes, such as the slick, which is a very large chisel driven by manual pressure. It's never struck. So as you can see in the picture, that's an extremely large chisel. They usually have a large handle on them, normally with a knobbed or broadened end at the very end, so you can push or put your shoulder in to actually use it, depending to shape that thing. It's not actually used. It's one of the few chisels that's not actually used with a striking implement. So next we have what we usually see as woodworking chisel as a layperson. So we have the firmer chisel, which looks very much like the slick but smaller, are usually struck. The blade has a thick rectangular cross section, making them stronger for use on tougher and heavier work. Bevel edge chisel, which can cut acute angles in its edges. The mortise chisel, of course, you generally use to make mortises, though there's two different types, registered and sash. You're pushing through those slides a bit too quick there, Yamas.
Yeah, sorry.
A paring chisel, a skew chisel, a dovetail chisel, a butt chisel, carving chisels used for intricate designs, corner chisels, of course, used to make sharp corners, flooring chisels, framing chisels, and of course, finally, that funny looking Z-shaped one that has just had that before, which is a draw lock chisel. So that's an all metal chisel used with two angle blades to use in tight spaces for cutting out the space for fitting desk drawer locks or even door locks. So similarly, lathe tools are gouges or chisels designed to cut material, typically wood or metal, as it's spun on a lathe. These tools have longer handles for more leverage, similar to a slick, which are used to counteract a tendency of the tool to react with a downward force of the spinning material being cut or carved. In addition, the angle and method of sharpening is different on lathe tools. A secondary bevel would not be generally ground on woodworking lathe tools. So next we move into metalworking chisels, which is where we're interested. So these chisels used in metalwork can be divided into two main categories. We've got hot chisels and cold chisels. So cold chisels are tools are made of tempered steel for cutting cold metals, meaning they are not used in conjunction with heating torches, forges, etc. Cold chisels are used to remove waste metal when a very smooth finish is not required, or when the work cannot be done easily with other tools, such as a hacksaw, a file, bench shears, or power tools. The name cold chisel comes from its use by people like us, blacksmiths, to cut the metal while it was cold, compared to other tools they used to cut the hot metal. Because cold chisels are used to form metal, they have a less accurate angle to the sharp portion of the blade than a woodworking chisel. This gives the cutting edge greater strength at the expense of sharpness. Cold chisels come in a variety of sizes, from fine engraving tools that are tapped with very light hammers to massive tools that are driven with sledgehammers. Cold chisels are forged and shaped and hardened and tempered to generally around from a straw to a blue color at the cutting edge. The head of the chisel is chamfered down to slow the formation of mushrooming caused by hammering, and is left soft to avoid a brittle fracture splitting from the hammer blows. Now, where was I? There we go. So there are four common types of cold chisels. These are the flat chisels. So that was the first chisel we saw before with the very flat edge. It's a typical, very common looking cold cut chisel. Then we've got the cross cut chisel. So that's the one that, so the next one on the fat looking side one. So that's used for cutting grooves and slots. The blade narrows behind the cutting edge to provide clearance. And then next up, we have the round nose chisel. This is used for cutting semicircular grooves, for example, those used in oil pathways for bearings. And finally, a diamond point chisel, which is used for cleaning out corners in difficult places, pulling over center punch marks wrongly placed for drilling. So these are the 4 common large cold cut chisels. Although the vast majority of cold chisels are made of steel, there are a few manufactured from beryllium copper or aluminium bronze, or aluminum bronze as you guys put it, for the use in special situations when non-sparking tools are required. Cold chisels are predominantly used also in riposte and chasing purposes for fabrication of sculptures and engravings in a variety of materials, including leather, stone, and in both ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Next up, we have hot chisels. So hot chisels are used to cut metal that has been heated in the forge to soften the metal. One type of hot chisel is a hot cut hardy, which is actually classified as a chisel, which is used in an Neville hardy hole and with a cutting edge facing up. The hot work piece is placed over the chisel and struck with a hammer. Of course, we all know you don't actually strike the hardy with the hammer. You strike over it until it gets to the point where it's nearly cut through. Then you either pull it off and break it with tongs, or you hit on the far edge away and you don't actually hit on the hot cut itself. You kind of cause it to shear off. Okay, so this tool also is often used in combination with a top fuller type of hot cut where the piece is being cut is particularly large. So particularly if you've got a striker, you might use the hot cut hardy and a top tool that's practically the same thing, either handled or with a pair of tongs, and you strike whilst you're using your third hand to hold material, or you're holding the material and you have someone else to strike, particularly whilst you're rotating that material in order to cut it like you would with a swage. So, stone and masonry chisels. Stone chisels are used to carve or cut stone, bricks, and concrete slabs. To cut, as opposed to carve a brick, a bolster is used. Now, so the one that's on the picture at the moment is actually a stone cutting toothed chisel, so that's used for stone carving. And the next one is actually the bolster, so it's generally used for cutting bricks or stones. Now, it's a wide flat blade where along the cut line to produce a groove, and it's hit hard in the center to crack the stone. Sculptors use a spoon type chisel, which is also a stone chisel, which is bent and beveled on both sides to increase the force. Stone chisels are often hit with club hammers and heavier type of hammer. Masonry chisels are typically heavy and relatively dull head that wedges and breaks rather than cuts. Often used in demolition, they are mounted on a hammer drill, jackhammers, or manually hammered, usually with a heavy hammer of 3 pounds or more. These chisels generally have 1 1/18 heft connection, and types of masonry chisels include moil or point chisels, flat chisels, asphalt cutters, carbide brushing tools, clay spades, flexible chisels, and tampers. A plugging chisel, which is the next one on from this picture here, is a tapered chisel used for cleaning out hardened mortar between bricks. This chisel is often held with one hand struck with a hammer, and the direction of the taper in the blade determines the chisel cuts deep or runs shallow along the joint. So finally, similar tools, a gouge. Gouges are similar tools. We talked about gouges at the start. They're similar chisels, except the blade edge is not flat. Instead, it is curved or aligned across section. Modern versions of these are generally hafted in line. The blade and handle typically having the same along the same axis. If the bevel of the blade is on the outer surface of the carve or gouge, it's called an out canal gouge. Otherwise, it's known as an in canal gouge if it's on the inside. Gouges with angled rather than curved blades are often called V gouges or V parting tools. The ones on the screen now are typically what would be part of a spoon gouge kit or a spoon carving kit. The blade geometry is defined by a semi-standard numbering system that varies by manufacturer and country of origin. For each gouge, a sweep number is specified that expresses the part of the circle by the curve of the blade. Now, finally, I'm not going to go into the forging or heat treating of chisels here, even nor even in the individual grinds, because it's far too in-depth a topic. Like many things that we do, there's no one-size-fits-all. Cold chisels need to be tougher than woodworking chisels, and stone chisels are treated different to gravers. If you're interested in this topic, check out videos by makers such as Roy at Christ and Ironworks for steel and copper use chisels, Clickspring and Sam Town for gravers and fine chisels, Black Bear Forge and Tourbillon Amman for woodworking chisels, just to name a few. Also, the uses of these chisels, again, it can take you years to get the right techniques and the right ability to use these chisels. And they, of course, they're used from everything from blacksmiths and graving on the swords like Sam Towns does, all the way up to doing fine marble, where we've all seen sculptures and busts, by Michelangelo. The most famous one I can think of is David. So, these were done with chisels and hammers and mallets. So, yeah, that's the topic of the day. I've kind of found this really fascinating, considering that chisels have been, even in the flint chisels that we saw right at the start, that 8,000 years ago. Well, probably more. They were obviously using these for making bowls and eating implements and cups and all that type of stuff, doing decorations on totem poles, which they exist. The totem poles existed all over the world, and even would venture to guess probably even doing decorations on spears and other and musical instruments. So this is a tool that is older than blacksmithing. It's one of the few tools that you can say honestly is older than blacksmithing.
Yeah. Now, let me get that off the screen. Hey Curtis, what's up, Shane? Yeah, you were talking. I didn't have any pictures of any hot cuts set up, so I kind of want to go into that a little bit too. Hot cuts and hardy tool, or the hardy hot cuts and such, and a little bit into the point of blacksmithing where there's really no one size fits all. Like I've seen many different styles. Taking example of hot cuts, where it's just a small little, with a wedge on it, and boom, it's a hot cut. Heck, I've seen the edge of an anvil. A blacksmith that I know from my guild, the end of his anvil, the tail, the heel, he did not radius that edge. He actually kind of sharpened it along the back so that it's a sharp 90-degree cutting edge. And he'll use that, while he's working, making that so it's boom, 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 and then to tap it, bend it, break it, finish it off, and then just so he doesn't even have to pull out a hot cut. It's just right there. His anvil has a hot cut on it.
Yep. I've also seen people turn because they're very wide and a very, very robust chisel. They've turned brick bolsters or stonemason chisels, and even to a certain degree cold cut chisels, turning them into to hot cuts as well, because they're a very tough.
All you need is an edge
chisel.
for a hot cut. All you need is an edge. Like if you're cutting a piece, all you need is an edge. I know that the style of hot cut that I prefer is the fish. No, I got a hot cut. It's it was made for me by one of my subscribers, Robert Robinette, and it is a fish. That the face of the fish goes down into the hardy hole, and the tail is flared out, and it creates this kind of like rounded battle axe style edge. And I like that because you don't really have to focus on lining up and being perfectly straight with it. You can kind of roll the piece as you're cutting it, to kind of bring that center down and cut it right at center. I've brought that design to some people in the guild, and they're like, no, that's a pain in the butt to use, and it needs to be flat. And it's like, potato.
I also like the radius hot cuts. That's my,
me too.
my what I've gotten used to using. But that's not to say it's the only style of hot cut. I mean, there's the square flat style hot cut is a very commonly used and very popular style of one as well. It just depends on what you get used to using. It's just like my hot cut, my handheld hot cut. When I'm using behind the hammer, that's I radius those too, particularly for when you're chasing a cut line. It's easier to roll it than to hit square and then move and hit square and try and maintain that line as well. So I find that I prefer radius when it comes to hot cuts.
I definitely prefer a nice radius. Yeah, and the other thing is, it's like if you're hitting straight on. Sometimes you want to get in there and get in a straight line, but you can't quite, for some reason, get a straight up and down hit. So it's like you can go at an angle and still have that straight line, without having it be a corner gouge going in. And to be fair, the different uses, it's like that's not to say that a straight chisel doesn't have a place. Like, there are some points where, a straight chisel in various sizes would be useful. Like, I want to go exactly, an inch and a half, perfectly straight line. I'm not going any further, not going any less. Whereas with a rounded chisel like the one that I typically use, I would have to, hit it, roll it, hit it, roll it, hit it, roll it, stop at an inch and a half. If I have an inch and a half chisel, boom, boom, done. Hey, Danimals. Aaron Dennis.
That's exactly the thing. The best thing about being a blacksmith is we can make our tools custom, which is what we need.
Yeah.
I mean, the longest chisels I've ever made, and this is going to sound really weird, but they were 6 foot long, and that's because they were a gift to a internationally renowned didgeridoo player and didgeridoo maker that's also a friend of mine. So that and that, because that's a very just bespoke set of chisels, and they were kind of a cross between a chisel and a gouge, because they had to be rounded to go down the inside of a didgeridoo, but they were 6 foot long, so that they could get the edge, and of course they were hardened and everything like that, but again, sometimes they were custom.
Yeah, sometimes you didgeridoo, sometimes you didgeridoo.
That's right.
Aaron Dennis says, I've made some custom chisels for various artists that don't always conform to what you'd visualize as a chisel. Exactly, as we saw with the spoon makers chisels. Gouges can be, considered a chisel, and yeah, you kind of do it the way you make the chisel based on the process that it needs to be used, or the effect that you need it. And it kind of goes into detailing too, because take when I make a dragon, when I forge a dragon and I want to pop the ears out, or the horns or something, when I want to dig into the bar and pull some material out off of an edge, it is often easier to use a curved chisel for that than it is to try and line it up with a straight chisel. So it's that goes to the point of, a chisel is something that it's why that with bladed things, a chisel edge, like you could have a chiseled edge of any shape, as long as its intended purpose is to gouge, its respective medium, be it steel, wood, stone, Hey, John Burnell.
Steve, I have no idea. I don't play them. My friend does. If you're interested in didgeridoo music, like I said, he is actually well renowned. His name's MD. You can find him on YouTube if you really want to. He doesn't know I'm plugging in here, but fantastic didge player and a really good guy. So, so he's the one that I made the didgeridoo chisels for. And as far as I know, he uses them.
Yeah. see. So I'll get that package out to you close end of week. No rush, man. I appreciate it, John. Much appreciated. Danimals, Yamez, I'd really like to see what you're talking about as far as your radius hot cut and stuff, because I'm not quite able to visualize what you're describing. I'll try and find an image real quick. But if not, I will be using it in tonight's 6 p.m. live stream where I'm at the anvil. So if you tune in there, you get to see the fish hot cut. I mean, it's a fish hot cut.
So corner to corner,
It's like
Danimals,
this.
I can see you've got instead of meaning flat from edge to edge. So yeah, so it's from corner to corner of the actual thing. It's radius. Yeah, it's concave radius rather than flat straight
It's
across
rounded
the top.
rather than flat. It still has an edge. Think like an axe. Hydrif FPV, thanks for keeping the community connected. Not a problem. We do what we do.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. We're just a node, and all of you guys connect through us. What's up, Bloobs? Metal Blueberries in the house. But yeah, so, I mean, I'm going to be, obviously, I said I'm going to be making chisels tonight, so I'll be making, I know one of them that I will be making will be a half moon chisel, a rounded chisel. I know that I'll probably make another curved chisel. Now, keep in mind, during my show, I don't hit the grinder much during my show, so I'll be basically shaping them and grinding them later. So, you'll get to see the forging of some of the different shapes. And I don't have any particular needs. I have one or two, but I will be going through several different types, because why not? But yeah, and the hot cut that I use during my show is the rounded one that I talk about. But yeah.
Another handy thing guys can use a chisel for, particularly one that you make yourself with only a very slight curve in it, as opposed to a radius, just a curve, is, and I've made them for taking the weld seam out of the inside of a pipe or tube, like square tube, particularly. We've got a video on my channel from probably about a year and a half ago where I knocked together a really, really rough and ready hardy tool, like a guillotine. And that's made out of a square piece of tube. And I had to knock the weld out of it. And so one of the things you can do there is make a very, very, make a chisel, cold chisel, that can get down, and that would be an instance where you use something like a flat chisel or something that's actually got a chisel grind, which on a cold chisel, which is flat on one side and angled at the top, so that you can get nice and close to that weld and take that weld out. Of course, you don't recommend doing it for everything, but it's very hard to clean up the inside of a pipe, so or box tube. So that's just one of the alternate uses you can use for a chisel.
Here's a tip for cleaning out the inside of a pipe, that pipe weld, the interior, which I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's brutal. You only need to make the chisel long enough to go at least halfway through, because you could always flip it around and go from the other side, So I had a conversation with a buddy in my guild, and he was trying to make, he's like, oh yeah, I got to clean out all these pipes to make, for slides. And so he uncoiled some coil spring, and was making like a 3-foot long chisel to get down there for these 3-foot long pieces. And it's like, you don't need it to be that long. I mean, you can flip it right. He's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of unwieldy. So that 6-foot chisel you were talking about, man, I couldn't even imagine. Let me see, Danimals. Somebody was, no, it was Paul Orchard. What material are you using? I use crowbars, good chisels. Coil spring, I use coil spring. But I also have used mild steel. I've done a slitting chisel out of a railroad spike even. Just I needed a specific shape, Didn't have any coil spring cut, so during a live stream, so I boop, 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 and knocked it out. It works, maybe once or twice, but it's just grab what you have.
You got to remember, guys, that cold chisels generally need to be hardened because they're going to be used against cold steel. Hot cut chisels don't need to be super hard. They don't need to, because A, they're going to lose their temper over time anyway, and B, they are used on hot metal. Hot metal is going to be softer than cold steel than at any stage, even if it's hot high carbon. Hot high carbon is going to be softer than cold mild steel. So
Yes.
you can make a hot cut chisel or out of mild steel.
You just have to
And
dress
at the
it
end of
more
the day,
often.
exactly, and that doesn't really matter. These are tools. These are disposables. They're things that are going to be used up over time. So if you have to dress it up a little bit more often, and it's good to keep your dressing up on those tools anyway, because they're struck tools. The end of them are going to mushroom over, and you want to keep that clean regardless. So if you're making your hot cuts out of a softer material such as mild steel, that's absolutely fine. Don't fret about that. In general, though, for what I've used for my chisels are, coil spring. I've used crowbars. I've used digging bars, old broken digging bars.
Yeah.
We've used those as well. Sway bars. As long as they're solid, they're usable as well. Basically, I've used old leaf springs. They make really good hot cuts as well,
Yeah.
because all you got to do they've just got to put their flat bar and put an edge on them. They make a good cold
Yeah.
cold chisels too. So these are these are the type of things you can use.
Yeah. I'd like to make a leaf spring hot cut, because here's another thing. Sometimes you want something very narrow as a hot cut, as opposed to something like my fish hot cut is very, I believe the word is obtuse, so when I'm hot cutting with it, if I'm doing something a deep hot cut or splitting something deep, it spreads it out real far. And if you think about force, if you're trying to cut something, you want all of that force on the cutting edge not to be dissipated and taken up by the camphor. Is that the word that I'm thinking of? Basically, if the majority of the piece is along the knot edge, along the side of it, and being spread out, every hammer strike, that force is split out. If you've got a nice, acute, sharp, straight piece, you'll cut a lot faster, a lot cleaner. So yeah. Welcome, Robert. One of my handful of
material out there, Yamas. You can always do it this evening and make all different types of
oh yeah,
chisels.
oh yeah, absolutely. Robert, one of my channel members with the custom emojis. Yes.
And Wayne,
And Wayne.
just to give those people that have shown up a little bit later a bit of a heads up, this is actually the first time you guys are knowing about us
officially knowing,
recording live officially for the Impractical Blacksmiths podcast. So, guys, just a reminder, that's on Spotify and on Anchor. So if you don't have Spotify, check it out on Anchor. If you don't have Anchor, check it out on Spotify. If you miss out any, if you're here live but you'd miss out or you come late or whatever, feel free, and we would love you to download the episodes on those two platforms. We will be including more platforms going forward into the future. We've just got to get them approved. But download them. You can listen to them at your leisure. Of course, we'll give them more updates in the future as well. But download those episodes, and you can listen to at your leisure. Okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to grab the link. I don't need message link.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. So, yes. So as you might be able to
Copy
see on the
link.
screen, just below me at the moment, that's the Impractical Blacksmiths podcast. And if you think that thumbnail looks familiar, that's because it is actually based on the book Practical Blacksmithing. It was done on purpose, and even though it looks very simple, that design took me a long time to do. So that's a fully custom thumbnail for the Impractical Blacksmith podcast. Look at it; you can
Let's see if I
you
can't
can
find
see
that.
there's actually writing in the little red ribbon as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm going into the chats to find.
all the iterations.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was in our personal chat.
Was it the
Yeah.
second one? The original classics in one place. Now in Technicolor because it's audio. Yeah. Shaped by your participation. Yep. Because I believe that's also an important little thing because the original book, the Practical Blacksmithing, wasn't written by just one person. It was a collection of notes and a collection of information from several sources. So
Yeah, it was, the original author went through, I believe, and visited a lot of smiths and collected notes and information from a variety of smiths around the time and compiled them into what we now know as practical blacksmithing.
yeah, and I have that right here. This was
I have a copy as well. It's a tome.
It is. It is a big book.
Yes.
Big book.
If you give me a second, I've got the modern one. You've got an older version there, Yamas.
Yeah, I've got a very old version. Let's see. From this date, this is with a forward from 1978, but this is the originally published in separate volumes in 1889, 1890, and 1891. Yeah.
Yep.
And it goes into all sorts of cool stuff. Like it has how to build your own shears, your own Beverly shears, and all sorts of stuff like that. Like you can't flip, you can blindly flip and go, oh, that'd be something useful,
Yep.
I'm still reading it. Mr. Robert actually sent me this book with a nice little note in it. And the idea that he had for this is when I'm done reading it and referencing it, for me to pass it on to another smith. And I'll sign it and write in it.
He's given it to you.
Yeah. Huh?
So basically, he's given it to you because by the time you finish reading and referencing that, you'll be on your deathbed and you'll be handing everything on.
No,
anyway.
I'm not. I'll be getting it along to somebody here at some point. But I mean, you're right. There's just so much information to glean from it.
I randomly, I was just flipping through just then, and I opened up to Chisels. That's funny. Yes, I have the one of the more modern versions, which is what the thumbnail for the Impractical Blacksmithing podcast is based on.
Yeah.
So,
Robert Lonis, it is the same show, but just the audio. Sully does some editing, removes a lot of the dot spaces, and so yeah. It is the same show. Actually, what we're going to be doing is at an hour, we'll be finding at the hour mark, we'll be finding like a stopping point for the podcast, doing our outro, and then if the show here continues, then the show here continues. We can go past. Then it'll be like extra content that you get to see and experience, before being live. Yeah. Let's see. The names in the green are part of the Bubba Club, members of the Island Metal Forge team. Absolutely, Trail Dust. Aaron Dennis, I suggest using a softer hammer for hot cutting, keeps the edge on the chisel longer. Yeah, I use a brass hammer, and everybody kind of gives me crap because it's got a fiberglass handle, but I mean, it's not like I'm swinging it all day. It's just a hot cutting hammer. Don't hit the edge of the chisel.
books like that.
Yeah, what?
books like that we rarely actually read.
They're
am
references.
weird, and I've actually read it from cover to cover. But most of my blacksmithing books and most blacksmithing books that we have, like Yames just said, are reference books. We look through it, we flick through it to see if we can find what we're looking for. Then we read that section, and then we close it up until we need it again. You know, but I mean, I was weird. I actually read Practical Blacksmithing cover to cover. I can't remember. I remember it had a lot of stuff about building wagons and doing wagon wheels in it.
It's got information on everything from,
Yeah.
building your own forge, building your own blower, building your own the different types of blowers, the different types of forges, tools, top tools, bottom tools, hammers, swages, chisels. It's got a whole chapter on chisels.
So it's a great thing to reference. You don't need to read it all, but I mean, there are a handful of books that I did a review on my channel regarding great books for beginners or great books in general. So I did some blacksmith book reviews. That's one of the ones that I would recommend to everyone, simply because it is such a fundamental and relevant, because it was written when there were still masters of the trade, when people were still learning it for the reason of doing it for a living. These people had hands-on and current experience at the time. Whilst there are a lot of people nowadays who are very experienced, there's stuff that's in that book that aren't used every day nowadays. So I recommend, that's one of the few books I recommend that everyone, if you have the opportunity to get a copy, get a copy. I believe now, because it's so old and it's open, the copyrights run out. I believe you can actually even find them online.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, this is a really cool candle holder here. It's basically like a swing arm with riveted pivot points. And I'd kind of like to make that, maybe not a candle holder, but with a hook on the end, and mount it up here in my room so that when hurricane season comes around, I can hang my hurricane lamp from it, swing it out, or set it up over here,
You are right. It does have phrases like "take a piece of Russian steel of the proper size." That does take a little bit of research to understand what things like that mean. Considering that the common reference for that is way out of date.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you use common sense, like for example, you take out the Russian, but if you just take out the Russian and say use a piece of the appropriate size, if you want to make something that's going to be an inch thick, take an inch thick stock, or just an inch and a quarter thick stock, so you're not working out too much, if you use common sense for certain things like that, you'll be able to get through it generally.
I'm looking up
the last place I found it, I actually got mine from a seller in the UK for Practical Blacksmithing, but that was a seller that actually also sells through Amazon. So if you go check on Amazon books, you should be able to get a copy of the Practical Blacksmithing. For those
$7.
of you that don't,
that's the Kindle hardcover, $8.52, paperback, $15.95.
Yep.
Yeah, like.
Hey, I got mine at Barnes and Noble. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, it's not a rare book. It is one of the most useful books, but it's not a rare book.
Yep. And I recommend getting the hardcover, particularly for someone that was just using it as a reference book in a library. Soft or paperback would be fine, but I take mine out to the workshop. I have mine. I keep sitting in my office at the moment, but when I have my workshops up and running, I have it in my workshop. It's in my my bookshelves in my workshop, because it is one of those books that it's better to look at whilst you're doing something, or before you start to do something. You have a read, put it back on the shelf. It's a reference book.
Yeah.
It is an active, it's like a mechanic's manual. You can use it live. So, get the hardcover. It's going to last you longer.
Yeah. And to kind of tie it all in, most importantly, it's where we got our name, the Impractical Blacksmiths, for our little group. So I believe what we'll do right now is do like the outro for the podcast, and then we'll just get right back and chit chat, read some comments, and until we decide to call it a day, call it a show. I believe you have an outro ready for us in your head.
I'll attempt it. So thanks for joining us, guys. You can find Yames on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find Alex at Transcendental Artist Studios on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find me, Adam, at Speargrass Forge on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget, if you have any suggestions for Tool of the Week, Metal of the Week, or any other topic under the sun, you can leave it under the hashtag Metal of the Week in YouTube community chat on our Discord channel, or you can email us at islandmetalforge@gmail.com. If you have found us on Spotify or Anchor or your favorite podcast provider, we upload every Wednesday, or you can join us live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's currently 11:30 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. But check against your local time for the exact time to join us. Finally, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate your support, and those that have joined our channel memberships, those of you that leave live chats and all that type of thing, we really appreciate it. All that money does go back straight back into the channel, not only to provide resources, but also provide a better experience for you. And that's pretty much it. So, so whilst we round up the podcast, do we have any final thoughts there? Alex, do you have a chance to join us for final thoughts? Just a minute. Okie dokie. That's the wonderful thing about the magic of YouTube. I can look over and see just what's going on. Yames is currently, we're looking at Yames as well. So my final thoughts are, guys, with chisels, of course, it's a tool that is very old, and again, one of the oldest tools humanity has used, and older than blacksmithing itself. They're a versatile tool. You have the ability to make as you need. So get out there, try it. The first one or two might fail, but nothing gains, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Get out there, try and make a chisel, and see how it works. Yames, have you got any final thoughts?
I just had a sinus attack. But yeah, the big thing is be safe and get out there and do it. And of course, a big thank you to everybody, who's both supporting the channel, supporting the podcast, downloading and listening, and the channel members and the participants and everybody who comes in and makes this entire experience fun and worth it. So,
all right, I'll just throw in there right quick now while I got a chance. So thank y'all for showing up to watch, and thanks for downloading the podcast and listening. I'm thanking you ahead of time. Don't forget to follow the podcast. It doesn't take a whole lot of traction where things can start happening. You don't necessarily have to listen to the live stream here on YouTube and then go download the podcast and listen to it there too, because it's basically the same thing. But just downloading it and letting it hang out in your stuff for a little while really helps us out, and it'll help our numbers out better than streaming will. So I would appreciate anybody that can do something like that for us. And other than that, man, y'all have a fine week. And sorry I couldn't be more involved today, but I got stuff going on. So, see ya.
Yeah.
You are lurking there, Alex, and to all the lurkers that listened and haven't joined, or those of you that listen on the podcast and haven't felt the need to drop us a line yet, thank you very much too. We appreciate you, and we hope to meet you one day.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to, if you listen to this podcast and would like to be a part of the show, whether it's through commenting or possibly even being on the show, you can find us, here You can listen live on Island Metal Forge or pop into the Forge Chat Discord. We'll put the links in the descriptions, and you can even email us at islandmetalforge@gmail. But I believe it's already been said. If that's already been said, cut that out. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's our podcast outro. For those of you thinking that we were ending the stream, no, we just want to. At about 11 o'clock, we'll be doing that outro, or at least possibly even pulling that outro, and copying it and putting it at the end of each podcast or whatnot, so that we have like an hour long, because Sully did a bunch of research, and like the sweet spot for a YouTube video is about 15 to 20 minutes, and the sweet spot for a podcast is about an hour. So we're not, I mean, we could still talk, and some days we jump out right at 11, some days we'll just keep going and forget what time it is, and it's like, oh no.
It wasn't last week. We were kind of like 2 hours in. It's like, what? We've been on the going for 2 hours. Jeez.
Yeah. But the podcast portion will be shorter. So yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, regarding the steel in Practical Blacksmiths, it is high quality. The reason being is that book was generally written about 1890, so right in the middle of, or between, I think it was between 1870 and 1890. So it was right in the peak of the Industrial Revolution. So steel was, getting made that was high quality. It was a high quality smelted steel. And like now, different places in the world had different quality of steel. But yeah,
Yeah, the high quality written in that book is not the same as is not what we would consider high quality now. So the book is a bit dated, but what the real useful part about it is the techniques and the information. If you're using it as a project guide, you kind of have to take into account when the specific article that you're reading in the book was written, because that's what it is. It's 4 books compiled into one, and each of those 4 books were collections of shop notes or essays or articles written by other blacksmiths of the time. So it's a compilation of classics. What's up, Thomas? So yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic book to have. It's not a be-all, end-all. I mean, pick up a few other modern books. The Blacksmith's Cookbook is another good example of a good reference book to have. A lot of information in there. Modern blacksmithing, backyard blacksmith, things like that. Like the newer books that are geared more towards the hobbyist. But this legit is a good, solid reference book. Well known.
Backyard Blacksmith is a good one as well.
I want this forge. The brick forge with the side blast with the little cone hood. I love it. But yeah, I mean, it's just wow to have.
There's another one. There's another really good book / book series on blacksmithing that was written. I know it was written in the US, and I'm pretty sure it was written about the 1850s. And it was a technical school book, like a tech school book, or manual series. It was I think it was about like 3 or 4 of them. That was just on blacksmithing. And I can't remember what it was called for the life of me. But yeah, it's a that's an all. I have to find the name of it. But they're as rare as hen's teeth. But apparently the information that's come out of them is really, really good.
Right. I just found a chapter on chisels. Chapter 3, and it's that far in.
You know, you have a problem when you pick up your when you're sitting in your office and you pick up your sword and it's got rust on it. It's like, oh, I've got to start
Oiling it
no, not oiling. I'm gonna have to sand that back
and then oil it.
and then oil it. Yeah,
Put some mineral
obviously
oil
someone's
on it.
picked it up. Yeah, WD-40 will do it. But that's the type of thing I have in my office. Just random swords.
Oh yeah. Oop. I hear you.
Yes. And Thomas, it's okay if you just popped in for a little bit while you're doing chores. So for those of you that's just shown up or shown up right at the end there, or right at the end there before, we were just doing the outro for our new podcast, which is now, I believe this will be episode 6.
5.
5 or 6? 5. Episode 5. That was just the outro for episode 5 for Impractical Blacksmiths podcast that you can find on Spotify or Anchor. So those of you that are just showing up late or haven't got to hear the whole episode, jump on Spotify, download that episode, and you can listen at your leisure.
I pinned the link in the chat. So yeah, please, everybody listening, go ahead and start downloading the episodes and storing them for a couple days, and listen to them if you'd like. I prefer you listen to them. But apparently the metrics and algorithms and whatnots for Spotify are not listener based, which is weird to me. It's download based. I would think they would have a metric for followers and listeners, and then another metric for downloads. But like the big metric they look for is who downloads it. Because the cool thing is you can download all the podcasts and burn them to a CD and play them in your workshop. Who burns CDs anymore? I'm getting this weird look from yeah, burn them to a CD. Record them onto a tape.
90s called, dude.
Yeah, they want the 90s called. No. They want their tech back.
Yeah. See you, Boar. Have a good one. And you've just thrown me completely. Yeah, that's the one, Wayne, blacksmithing primer. That one apparently is a spectacular resource. I'm still looking for a full set myself. But yeah, so when I can eventually get a hold of one, I will get a hold of one.
Yeah. And yeah, one thing I'd like to note about the podcast is as we get better at dealing with podcasts. Sorry, there's a mosquito that got in my room somehow, and I'm staring at it. As we get better at the podcasts, and more used to that format, the podcasts will get better, and everything. This is kind of we've done a couple of them where it's like we tried to record these live streams as if we were doing a podcast. So, yeah, if I seemed a bit clunky on it, it'll be a little bit better. Can someone type the name out? That for me, it was Impractical Blacksmiths on Spotify. The link is right here. Let's see. It's in the pinned messages. Let me grab that link. Copy. Paste. There you go.
My fingers aren't working. I can't spell, guys. Don't worry about what I'm typing.
Impractical.
Impractical. Yeah, it's just not working. It's not working. I give up.
Yeah. Exactly, Stephen.
Okay. I swear I've only had 2 rums tonight.
I'm out.
It's coming into my birthday week, so I'm allowed to.
But yeah, like exactly, like when you're trying to record your favorite song and you just want the DJ to shut up because you're sitting there with the microphone over the speaker, trying to record it. That's how mixtapes used to mean something, damn it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, rebellious fingers, trail dust, and yeah, just rebellious everything. Like I've cracked out I've cracked out the pirate beverages tonight. So
Yeah. I like an episode. The blurb for episode 2 is where I guess it's the episode where I talked about grog. So
I want to jump in and have a quick look at that. I want to see what all the blurbs are because I haven't had a chance to download them all yet. I've only downloaded the episodes, the intro, the episode 1 and 2.
that's all there is right now. Episode.
I thought
intro,
3 and 4 were up as well.
Only 2 episodes and the intro. I'm
okay.
reading Sully's sign language. Yeah, only episodes 1 and 2. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know. I'm assuming that means time he's working on them, but they're not just ready yet. Will be uploaded in due time or something. He's like, dang it.
Yeah, no, it's just I've got them downloaded, and I just have to sit down and edit them and upload them. It's been busy. I was lucky I got 2 done this week. Yeah, I'm hoping to get. Well, I know I will. I'll be caught up after this week because I'm off like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I will be able to get completely caught up by next show.
Right. Yeah, and here's the beauty of it. We have so much material to work with. Like, in addition to having a new show every Sunday, we've got almost 2-3 years worth of stuff that we can go through. Not all of it's going to make the air because, not all of it was set up for a podcast, So
I'd also like to point out that after editing after editing the first 2 videos, after editing the first 2 episodes, we're pretty rough. We had both of them had audio issues, one type or another, but those will be farther and fewer in between, and they will time. So please bear with me. It seems all smooth and seamless when we're doing the live stream on Sunday, but then I go back and I'm like, oh wow, listen to that. That's real tinny, or oh, listen, there's an echo there, or man, I cannot hear that person. It's just. But we're getting it worked out, so bear with us, and the episodes are going to get busy. And after I get caught up next week, I should be current. I'm thinking about maybe once a week or every 2 weeks, I'll throw in a backlog to it, and the first in the description is going to be the date, the first thing, so it's not, oh, a new episode came up. Oh, this is a year old. Well, the date that it was recorded will be in the episode description. So.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I mean, even with that, it's always fun to go back and this way you can, if you follow the podcast, you can hear some of the classics that we talked about, like when we talked about wrought iron, or when we talked about AR 500 steel, or
yep.
We did a whole episode on PPE. They'll be slipped in there, randomly. Not in any particular order until, so backlogs. We've got tons of backlogs. Trail dust with the name counts. 2 Pauls, 2 Roberts, 2 Daniels. Thank you, Thomas. Yep, spread the word, let people know that we're doing this too. I mean, we can only do so much with marketing. Unfortunately, Facebook is great for marketing, and I tell you, it's like several of the groups that I'm in, they just don't want to, let me advertise my shows. They're like, no, that's, no. And I'm like, so, flee. I mean, go spread the word. You know, it's going to be a fun new chapter in the Sunday morning gathering of everything. I have a loop of Yamas laughing that I play every time I screw something up. Yeah, that's the downside to having an audio only file. Now you can clip it and you know.
Yep. Don't worry, we've all come to terms with the fact that we're going to be memified at some stage.
Yeah. So it is what it is. But
Oh, tobacco, isn't that true? It's the longest outro ever.
encouraging you to be a cult. I'm not gonna say no. I mean, yes. I mean,
You might have already answered this, Yamas, just before we covered AR Steel, didn't we? Yes, I'm pretty sure we have.
what's that? That we're a cult?
Danimals said the AR Steel.
Yeah, we had a whole episode on AR Steel.
Yeah.
If
you're patient there, Danimals, I'm sure Alex will get around to doing the upload on Spotify at some stage. Other than that, you'll probably go through the backlog in of videos in Yama's channel, and one of them might mention.
Yeah, no, it's got the title.
AR Steel.
AR 500.
It is?
Yeah. What we found out, if I recall, was that AR 500 is not a specific steel. It is a classification for, like you could take, it's like for the heat treatment style, you know, like, I believe, if I recall, something like 4140, you know, properly treated can be, you know, qualified as AR 500. You know, it's more of a designation of heat treatment than it is a specific type of steel, kind of like spring steel. You know, it's you can do a spring temper on certain steels, and whereas you say spring steel, most people think 5160, but there's also several other, you know, types of, or different types of steel that can be tempered, you know, heat treated into that classification of spring steel. Same thing with AR-15. No, Wayne, if you want to have a audio clip of me laughing at you, and even, you know, download it and put it into like a little, like, that was easy Staples button, so that, you know, set it next to your forge so that anytime you screw something up, you go and you hear, that's fine by me. I'll even do another couple of audio clues that you guys can have, and then be like, you're doing a great job, keep up. What'd you do that for?
Fact.
Yeah. What'd you do that for?
Here's an interesting fact. So, Metal of the Week, right, is one of the older segments that we've done on the new version of Sunday Morning Gathering. Okay, and it's probably the second Metal of the Week that we did 7 months ago.
Oh man.
The first one we did was Raw Iron.
Let me see. Now you got me questioning. Yeah, first one was kind of like a, you know, we had discussed doing it. I'm like, well, I'm going to do wrought iron today. And it was like, okay. Mm-hmm. And I just rambled on for 2 hours about wrought iron. And here's another point, too. Some of these metals of the weeks and topics and stuff, we may re-record them, re-bring them up, due to, you know, either it was a topic that just went on for way too long, and we'd do like a condensed version, or kind of a refresher episode on them.
Most of them will be hit again because there's only so many metals out there. I'm gonna run out, so
yeah,
we're definitely gonna have to retouch on some and expand a little further. Now I will say, I know me personally, before we redo a metal, I will and listen to the previous episode to make sure I just don't repeat the same dang thing over again. And so we'll take it a different direction. or what have you, to keep it fresh and interesting.
Yeah. They are.
Where we go? There we go.
Okay, October 24th, 2021. Middle of the week, AR 500. October. Wow. Not even.
Yep. We're nearly coming up to the 1-year anniversary of the current format of Sunday Morning Gathering with the 3 hosts and stuff.
Yeah, here's the. Yeah, there's the link for AR 500. Can you say dumbass? Dumbass! What's up, Mr. Maker? Yeah, let me, I'd have to really kind of go into a detailed search.
Thank you, Thomas, for following us on Spotify. It means a lot.
Yeah,
it really does.
Absolutely.
And to everyone else that, of course, has followed us on Spotify, it does mean a lot to us. We appreciate you guys so much.
Yes. And with that, I think if anybody has any questions about what we're doing moving forward, feel free to ask. I mean, I may not be able to tell you for sure, but I mean, I know we're going to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that's not to say that every week is just going to be, middle of the week, tool of the week, topic of the week, whatever. If looking forward to the future, we're going to want to get, makers and interviews, so that you guys can interact with people that you otherwise might not. We have plans, nothing in concrete yet, but we have plans of reaching out to people just to say, hey, come and have a chat to us sometime. And so of course, and that includes if we whenever we travel and stuff like that, we'll have interesting characters on there. For example, when I eventually come to the US and I'm traveling around, I'll be in the US for 6 Sundays. So there's, apart from the week that I'm actually with Yames and with Sally, there's going to be an opportunity for me to be at random people's places going, hey, I'm going to jump on the live stream, so do you want to join me?
That's going to be a fun series. It's
going to be chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
All of us are in one room. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be the Impractical Blacksmiths. That's not a knife world tour.
Dude.
Yep, we can do that. Yep.
That's not a knife. That's a chisel.
Either that or I take a plastic knife with me wherever I go. That's not a knife.
Oh, yeah. Because let me tell you this. You're coming to America. You're going to hear that joke everywhere you go. So you need to be prepared.
Yeah.
Have a spork.
Yep.
Have a plastic spork or something.
That's not a knife. That's a knife. No, that's a spoon. So you played knifey spoony before.
That's the one. You need to be ready for that that joke, because it's gonna get tired and worn out, and you're gonna be like I haven't heard that one a million times, and what would be great is if everywhere you go you grab a half a pound of shrimp and toss them on the barbecue. Just because. Like, guess what I'm doing? I'm gonna throw some shrimp on the Barbie. You see his face? He's gonna punch me.
No.
You're so bad,
No,
Yames.
no. I'm gonna pick up Ben and throw him at Yamez because throwing a shrimp at.
You know how like with they have the raccoon tail hats. You need a dingo tail hat, and be like, yeah, this is the one that stole my baby.
You can't joke about that anymore. You know why? They proved it actually happened.
I know. I'm so horrible. Take a frozen shrimp, tape it to a Barbie doll, and be like, yeah, that's what we do. And just have cases of Foster's sitting in your backpack at all times because it's Australian for beer.
No, it's not. Even Sully's holding his head.
Oh man. I can't wait for the world tour. I can't wait for the world tour. Yeah, I'm gonna get shot somewhere.
Hey, Sully, can you strangle him for me? You're closer than I am. My hands won't reach through the camera.
Yeah, I'll throw hands his way.
Yeah. Pow.
Just like this. Yeah. Oh my golly. Yeah, Foster's is not anything for beer. There's no beer in Foster's. Anyway,
Foster's Australian for shite.
I like Vegemite.
Australians have a lower opinion of Foster's than we do for American beer. So that's good stuff.
When you come, are you bringing Paul Hogan?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
He doesn't even live here anymore. He lives in LA. He lives in LA.
Oh.
I may be able to bring one of the what is it? Three Hemsworths. Chris Hemsworth and Chris is too famous. One married Miley Cyrus, so he's crazy, and so I'll bring the third one.
Be like, are you Australian? Yes, prove it. Pull out a Hemsworth. Be like, here. Yeah, it's like, and in my other pocket I got a Russell Crowe. How's that? Hugh Jackman.
He's Kiwi. Hugh Jackman's Australian. Russell Crowe is actually born in New Zealand.
Oh,
we just claim him.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
we've gone off the rails.
Eric Banner will do. Yeah, Eric Banner. At least people know who Eric Banner is, so that's all right.
Eric Banner, wasn't he the Incredible Hulk?
He was at one stage. That's correct. But most Australians remember him from the Castle.
Wait.
Actually, you probably remember him from the Castle too, Gomez.
Which castle?
Didn't you see the movie The Castle? Was that you or was that Bob?
Probably Bob, maybe me. I don't know. I know the last Australian movies I watched were the zombie movies. Farts for Brains.
Australian zombie movies.
Oh yeah, they're freaking great. It's like Mad Max meets Day of the Dead.
Right.
Wormwood and Wormwood Apocalypse. Awesome
Haven't
movies.
seen them.
Oh my god, you need to watch them. They are so much fun. High octane zombie fun.
Cool.
Apocalypse is a sequel.
I was gonna say I have to let you know I have actually been to Wolf Creek Crater.
Yeah, I have yet to sit and watch that movie. It's in my queue.
It's a real place. So for those of you that think it's all movie magic, Wolf Creek Crater is a real place. The rest of it surrounding it is a little bit.
Yeah.
It was based on a true story in the sense of it was based on the Peter Falconio abduction. But yes, it's
yeah.
Wolf Creek Crater does actually exist.
Now, Island Metal Forge, on the other hand, is a fig Newton of my imagination. It only exists on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. It's a real place.
A fig Newton of your imagination, was it?
Come with me, and you'll see a world of a lot of rust and degradation.
Well, we're glad we got your attention there, Deranged.
Yeah. Did they use chisels in that movie? Yes. It's all circular.
Hey,
It's the great
there is a very
circular saw of life.
Yeah, there is a great Australian band called Cold Chisel.
Yeah.
Seriously, listen to them; it change your life.
Now, okay,
They're
so
nearly as good as AC/DC.
correct me if I'm wrong. Is a cold chisel is a cold cut chisel? Is that for like slicing deli meats?
A cold cut chisel is, yes.
Okay. All right.
For salami.
Okay, because I need to forge a cold cut chisel for my charcuterie board. Okay.
Now Sally's up to fishing.
All right, this whole after show needs to be clipped and put in as a bonus feature for like premium users or something. That's freaking awesome. Good night, BB Maker.
See you, Wayne. Have a good one there, bud.
Yeah, speaking of weed eating, I do got to get to that. I can literally watch the grass, growing up around my window.
I'm trying to grow my grass at the moment.
You want some of mine?
Seed down and
holy hell!
I put seed down and been watering it like 3 times a day, and yeah.
We got this creeper grass around here. It's like you could literally, I could probably send you an envelope of it, and you set it down, and your entire country will be covered in it within a week. And it's hard to dig in.
I use couch grass, and it's hard. Like just trying to grow grass in Northern Territory is a pain in the butt. It's either really hard or it grows like a weed.
Yeah.
Like we've got an African type of grass here called gamba grass that's actually listed as #1 noxious weed. But it's great for growing tall, but it doesn't grow like it's not a lawn grass. It's a can't really say a cattle grass or a feed grass because it doesn't really have that much nutritious value for cattle, but it's a tall growth grass.
Yeah. I know our grass here is rough and sharp. It's a hardy grass for growing on sand. It actually grows across the top of it and then sets roots down. Like it spreads and then, once it's like, okay, yeah, nothing's going to stop me now, then it drops some roots and holds itself down. And it's a tough grass. You're walking on it barefoot. It's like walking on sticks. Like it's a tough grass.
Oh, I've got the stuff. I think not sure if Sally. I saw Sally talking at the screen, then dropped off. Yeah, Paul. I've got millet and couch mix at the moment. There's seeds I'm trying to use. But yeah, it's just the territory is just we've got very poor soil quality, so I'm trying to improve my soil quality as well as grow grass, and I've got 2 months to do it. So, Sally's back. Hi, Sally.
Yeah.
So yes, it's gone from a blacksmithing stream to a gardening stream.
Yeah.
How to best maintain your yard.
Yeah, Mr. Maker, you probably know the name of it better than I do. I just call it creeper grass. I gotta, when I dig a trench, I have to literally take the shovel and, just cut the grass in the line before I can. You can't just like, because yo.
Hey, on my end, your audio is coming in way quiet, and something I've noticed in editing as well is your levels are way below ours.
Okay, so I'll bump me.
I was just now trying to figure out if maybe we're like right now figure it out if maybe that's my Discord settings, but I can't figure out how to adjust your volume.
Well, if it was editing, then you heard it through what they hear. But yeah, I'll remember to keep it bumped. I try to keep it out of the red, but I'll bump it up so that I'm tickling the red bar there as I talk.
Because you know how in the editing software you got the little audio wiggles or whatever.
Yeah.
And me and Adam are pushing the tops of it, and you're just barely bumping the line.
It's either means. Well, let's go to the audience. Who's louder to you guys? On average, is it them or me? because I'm at 4 decibels. You guys are at 7, or negative 4 decibels. You guys are at negative 7 decibels. I'll put up both of
And,
us at 4.
yeah,
Let
and
those people in the... Sorry,
Go ahead.
Sally, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I am not going to go through the hassle of separating all of us
No,
out of the audio
absolutely
track
not.
and boosting one per. I think no.
No, that's an edit that we can do live. I'll just have to remember it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, next, I don't know, because like on occasion I don't know if you're leaning in or whatever, but you occasionally get louder. Maybe you just speak up a bit. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's probably me leaning in because this is my microphone right here. You know.
Oh, see, now you're on the same level as the rest of us.
Get on my level. Close to it. Get on my level.
That's so creepy. I was going to say, just to let those of you guys know in the chat, this is what some of the money for that channel memberships and super chats go towards: getting Yama's better equipment.
Hey.
Yeah, no, for sure. I got a mic and a soundboard and all that, and
Yeah, I'm the producer. Well, actually, kind of all are producers.
We need to get Yamez a soundboard and a dynamic microphone as well. So
yeah. Although I definitely, due to my setup, I need a boom mic, because a desk mic sitting way over here, like where this one is, would be, I would have to lean in like this and talk to it, and then like all you guys would see is my forehead, and you know, like my forehead is really, really big, really huge forehead, you know. So I need to have something that like comes up right here.
are you saying it's a 5 head?
More like a 10 head. But we digress. Behind the scenes, out in front. Yep.
The stuff that goes on in the pre-stream chat, we get in the chat as well. Sometimes in a call before we get into the pre-stream chat, and this is the type of just shenanigans that happen.
Nonsense. Yeah. Speaking of which, with that, I think, you know, we're losing viewers. So, people, it's Memorial Day weekend. People have got things to go do, cook and clean your yards, get ready for their backyard barbecues and all that fun stuff. So we're probably going to go ahead and call. No! It's Big Dog, a production meeting on air. I'm done. See ya. Nah. How you been, Big Dog?
We have to let you know, mate. We have expanded your idea. We finally moved into podcasts.
Yes. We are the first hour of each live stream is going to be pulled out, the audio pulled, rough edits, or, you know, quick edits, or not quick edits, or 4-hour edits, and uploaded to Spotify. Link is pinned. It's less of a production meeting and more of a we've run through the topic of chisels, and we were just chatting with everybody, you know. So we were actually talking grass. Deranged is going to send me some Kentucky grass. I want something nice and soft that can grow in shade, because the backyard's going to be totally awesome camping ground once I clear all the woods out. But yeah, like we said earlier, though, this podcast is going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. We're going to get better, and none of it's possible without you guys. So download them and give them a listen. You know, love your feedback.
While we have Tim here, Tim, I have this is just a off the mind request. Now that we've moved into podcasts, a tool of the week coming up for a couple of weeks would be the community experience. I would. What do you guys reckon about seeing if we can possibly maybe convince Tim to come on for an interview and pick his brain, and particularly having him on a podcast?
I'm down. Seeing as how he
And
started this.
Exactly. Tim, would you come and join us one Sunday coming up soon? If you have the time and the ability, of course. We're all waiting a bated breath of the chat.
With that 15-second delay.
Mm.
I'd love to have guests on,
From
Tim,
the Ebenezer music playing in the background. Do, do, do,
Tim,
do,
Roy,
do, do, do,
John.
do, do, do.
We need to get Glenn from GS Tongs. I haven't actually had a chance to sit down and chat with him.
Say it's that Final Jeopardy theme song.
Yeah. But
Yep.
oh yeah,
Another Robin Robinette. He'd be another great one to get on at some stage as well.
I've had him on the show before.
Yeah, yeah.
Check with the manager. Right on.
Is that the Minister of Finance there, Tim?
Yeah. Well, I know.
Minister of War and Finance.
I know. We all do a little bit of the scheduling, but I do know that Adam pretty much has our schedule written down for a lot of our topics. Yeah, she said okay. Glenn is in the U.S. at the moment. Nice. Yeah, we'll get it sorted and get it scheduled here shortly. Like Adam said, in the next couple of weeks. I believe you're on work next week and off work the week after.
Yes, except that I'm on holiday because of my birthday week, so I'm off for the next 2 weeks, so I'm available.
So any show the next 2 weeks?
Yep.
Yep. I know one episode coming up is going to be forge hoods because I just rebuilt a forge hood. Proper with a smoke shelf and everything. Boo!
Well, Yames, do you have contact for Tim?
I believe me and him have spoken through Instagram.
Okay,
So
no worries. I was just going to say because that way, if you want to tee it up with Tim, and that way you can let us know because we're going to be here.
Yeah. So Tim, yeah, just
and
next 2
and
weeks.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, big thanks. Yeah, next 2 Sundays, let me know which one works for you, and we'll get you on the Discord. I believe we've had you on Discord here before. If not, I will share that link again. Never. No limits. Copy. And paste. There's the link to the Discord. And there is somewhere coming up the link to the Spotify. There it is. Copy. Paste. Yep. It's all links necessary. All right. But with that, guys, I'd like to thank you guys all for being here. Again, this show, it's so community based. That I couldn't do it without you guys, and with Adam and Sully popping on board and becoming ipso facto co-hosts and cohorts, like that I feel we've just launched this experiment in community blacksmithing to to new heights, and I'm excited for the future for it. And again, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So we'll work on becoming better. And
a little bit.
huh? We'll work on becoming better, and you guys being early adopters, and when we've got billions of subscribers between podcast and YouTube and all that, you guys were like, we were here first.
Consider yourself lucky. Years from now, you can look back and you'll be like, I used to listen to these guys when they were shitty.
Right?
Touche.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to change much, but
Some of us age like fine wine. Some of us age like milk.
I age like vinegar.
Or how about that pilk? Dill pickle flavored milk,
Pickle flavored milk. Oh, Trail just called a hot mic. But yeah, so with that, guys, get out to your shops and do something, or get out to your yards and get them ready for Memorial Day parties. It's Memorial Day. Do something special. I'm going to go ahead and call that a day, and I will get my shop prepared for later on. We'll be working on making some of these chisels that we talked about. So, big thanks to you all, guys. Anybody have some, end of show final thoughts? I know we did a kind of end of podcast final thoughts already, but
I've pretty much said everything, guys. Have fun. Thank you for your service for anyone in the chat or anyone that listens after for your service. Whether that's in the US military or in any other allied military. Of course, I'm Australian, so the US is an ally of us. Helped out, in a couple of world wars and a couple of later conflicts. So you guys are allies, so thank you very much for the service for those that have come and served and come and gone.
yeah, absolutely.
Have fun, keep safe, drink lots, be happy, and be proud.
And it looks like Sully is backing that truck up, so I'll say goodbye for him. Goodbye, guys. Thank you. All right. See you guys in about 6 hours.
Hi, guys.